How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Yud Aleph, Daf 11 of Masechta Nedarim, friends. Daf Yud Aleph is a funny little thing. Kind of. Depends what you find funny. My kind of funny. Not funny. For anybody who knows me. Which by now is, I'm sure, a few of you. Us. Babylon Talmud. People. Us. Alright, yeah, Nedarim, man. Funny little things. If you say this, if you say that, what if you say that? We're gonna get to some double negatives. Friends, I feel like I mentioned my relationship with double negatives in the past. Not such a big fan. I'm not a fan of not using double negatives. That was a triple negative, which I guess is, yeah, you see, that's where it gets confusing. Well, no, even the double negative gets confusing, let alone triple. Okay, we're going to start the Mishnah on Daf Yud Beis, about 5 lines from the bottom. Says the Mishnah, Ha'omer lo chulin oy vavoy she'oichel lecha. Okay, fine. Lo kosher v'lo dachi tahor v'tamei noser figol oser. Friends, what does this mean? Okay, so la chulin means like low chulin. It's not chulin, okay? So if it's not chulin, then what is it? Kachim, hektish, korban. So we're saying lo chulin she'ochel, so regarding food, right, regarding me being able to eat from you, it will be considered not like chulin. So what's not chulin? A korban. So basically, he's basically saying konam. He's basically saying the possibility of me eating anything from you is basically osir like a korban. So then osir, right? Lo kosher. If he says it should be considered like unkosher stuff, velo dachi, or impure stuff. Tahor is just a synonym for dachi, so impure. Vitame, I don't know, also impure. Nosar, if it's leftover korban stuff, which you have to burn it. Ufigol, also if you have like wrong intentions when it comes to korbanos. Osir, all of those things. If you're saying that like the possibility of eating from that fellow's food is like any of these osir things, so osir. Ke'imra, if it's like sheep that are going to be for korbanos. Kedirim, or like the places where they keep the pens, where they keep the sheep. Ke'etzim, like the wood for the mizbeach. Ka'ishim, like the fire of the mizbeach. Ka'mizbeach, like the altar. Ka'heichal, like the sanctuary in Jerusalem. K'Yerushalayim, or like Jerusalem. Nadar be'echad mikol mishamshem mizbeach, if he made a vow with any of the accessories of the altar. Alfa pish lo yizkir korban, even though it doesn't mention specifically a korban. How is it nadar be'korban? He's basically making a neder that he's not going to get any benefit, just like he doesn't get benefit from a korban. Ha'omer, Rabbi Yehuda, Omer says Rabbi Yehuda, Ha'omer Yerushalayim lo Omer klum. Says Rabbi Yehuda that if he says Yerushalayim, not ki Yerushalayim, but simply Yerushalayim, so then it doesn't work. Friends, how'd you enjoy that Mishnah? Very pleasant, right? Okay, now we're on Daf Yud Aleph Mud Aleph, all the way at the top. Says the Gemara, Savua my lachulin lo chulin lehavi ela korban. So we're saying, okay, so how do we understand the Mishnah? As I explained, la chulin, it means not chulin. So what's not chulin? A korban, right? Chulin is like not a korban, and not chulin is a korban. Fun stuff. No. Money, so says the Gemara, Savua chulin lo chulin lehave ela ki korban. So if it's not chulin, then it's a korban. Money masnis, and so is the author of our Mishnah. Reb Meir, if we're going to suggest that the author of our Mishnah is Reb Meir, leis le michlalav atashumei hein. Reb Meir doesn't hold of the concept of inferences of well, if we say not this, then memele it means that. Rabbi Yehuda is not a memele, it means that guy. He says if it means that, tell me it means that. Don't say what it isn't and leave me to figure out what it is. Tell me what it isn't, tell me what it is, tell me everything, be clear. The Tanan, as we learned in the Mishnah, Omer says Meir, Kol Tanai, She'eno Ketnai Bnei Gad Uvnei Ruvain Eno Tanai, that any stipulation that is not like the stipulation of the sons of the tribe of God and the sons of the tribe of Ruvain, so it's not a stipulation, right? They said in Parshas Behar or something? No. Maybe Matos? Maybe Matos. Somewhere over there. Maise? No, maybe Matis. Anyways, they say over there that, if we go and we fight, so then we'll be able to get Ever Ayardin. And if we don't go and fight, then we won't get it. So they were very clear what happens, if this is the case, then this. If that's the case, then that. Very clear. Very clear. Very clear. Very clear. Very clear. Very specific. Just thinking, of course, of computer programming, if statements. So the Maisa, when it comes to an if statement in the computer programming, I think the Mahalach is, you have this, the condition, and then you have a fallback, if this, and then essentially else, basically anything else, then, if it meets this criteria, so then do a certain thing. Otherwise, do something else. So I guess we're not as specific, but at the same time, you kind of want that because, you don't want things to break. So you always want there to be something to do. If you're too specific, then what happens in situations where it doesn't apply? Although, of course, every situation is different. Has anybody become a computer programmer since starting Babylon Talmud? Have I inspired you? Or maybe not. Or maybe you learn Masechta Nedarim and Masechta Yevamis. You're like, all right, this is enough of this kind of thinking. Friends, let's move on. So we're saying that I haven't been doing so much programming recently. Yeah. I haven't been doing so much programming recently. Okay. So what am I doing? I'm getting sidetracked. I gotta move weiter. So we're trying to figure out who the author of our Mishnah is, because our Mishnah says that lo chulin, and it leaves it to us to imply, okay, so what's lo chulin? A korban. But it's not specific, it's not direct, so memele, it can't be Reb Meir who requires us to be direct. El Reb Yehuda, so it must be that the author of our Mishnah is Reb Yehuda, who says that you don't need a t'nai kafel, you don't need a if this and if that. You can use your brain a shtickle. So Ema Seifa, but if we go weiter in the Mishnah, what does it say? Reb Yehuda Omer, Yerushalayim lo Omer Klum. Reb Yehuda says at the end of the Mishnah that if a fellow says Yerushalayim, it's irrelevant. He hasn't said anything. So the Seifa Reb Yehuda, Reish Lav Reb Yehuda. So if only at the very end of the Mishnah do we get to Reb Yehuda's opinion, that implies that up until that point we aren't talking about Reb Yehuda's opinion. So and for the Gemara, Kula Reb Yehuda, it's Taka all Reb Yehuda, Ve'achi Katane. And this is how you understand the Mishnah. Sher Reb Yehuda Omer, HaOmer Yerushalayim lo Omer Klum. That the way to understand the Mishnah is, if you look at the Mishnah, it says Omer lachulin she'ochelcha lo kashav v'docher. Okay, fine. What do we say? Ki imra, ki dirim, ka eitzim, ka ishim, ka mizbeach, ka yichel, ki Yerushalayim. So if you say ki Yerushalayim, meaning you have to say with the chaf, you have to say ki Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim alone is not enough. Shehoya. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, because Rabbi Yehuda says, Ha'omer Yerushalayim alone, lo Omer Klum, it's irrelevant. Okay, so therefore the whole Mishnah is Rabbi Yehuda. V'chiyomer ki Yerushalayim de Rabbi Yehuda mi mitzer. But for the Gemara, 1 second. If we're saying the whole Mishnah is Rabbi Yehuda, and we're saying that you have to say ki Yerushalayim in order for it to be Aser, like Jerusalem in order for it to be Aser, so we're saying that Rabbi Yehuda's opinion is that if you say ki Yerushalayim, it's also V'otani, but we're learning a Brisa. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, it says Rabbi Yehuda, Ha'omer ki Yerushalayim lo Omer Klum. That a fellow says ki Yerushalayim, it's irrelevant. Achiyidu b'davar akariv Yerushalayim. Yeah, it has to be something that is offered in Jerusalem, i.e. a korban. But ki Yerushalayim is not enough. Kuler b'yudei v'treitinoi eli b'darbidu. We say, hold your horses, don't get carried away. There's two Tanoim who were expressing the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, and they had differing accounts of what Rabbi Yehuda actually said. That other Brisa is just a different Tana who's explaining Rabbi Yehuda's opinion. I imagine one of them is correct and one of them is incorrect, but it's not necessarily, meaning our Mishnah is saying that Ki Yerushalayim works. We have a Brisa that's saying that Ki Yerushalayim doesn't work. So how do we put it together? Yeah, I guess it's just two conflicting versions of what Rabbi Yehuda's opinion actually was. Okay, fine. Now I think we get to more kind of double negative-y kind of things over here. So now, Tanya, we learn in a Brisa. Chulin, hachulin, kichulin. Okay, so if you're saying these different chulin kinds of things, bein she'ochelcha uvein shelo ochelcha, whether he's saying that which I will eat from you shall be treated like chulin, okay, that's fine. Uvein shelo ochelcha, or that which I don't eat from yours. Okay, mutter. Either way, he's allowed to eat from the guy. Okay. Now, so if he's saying that which I will eat from you will be like chulin, so okay, Mele can eat it. Now, the interesting thing about ubein shelo ochel lecha, so if he's saying that which I will not eat from you is going to be considered like chulin, then that implies that which I do eat from you is going to be considered like a korban, which is a problem. And yet we don't seem to be saying it's a problem. So we don't seem to be doing the implication thing. So we're saying that when it comes to chulin, whether he says bein she'ochel lecha, bein shelo ochel lecha, mutter. Now, la chulin she'ochel lecha, aser. Now if he says that which I eat is not chulin, okay, so what is it? It's a korban. Aser. Okay. La chulin la ochel lecha mutter. If he says that which I don't eat isn't chulin, okay, mutter. Fine. Reisha mani Reb Meir he delays li michlalav tashemein. So it sounds like the reisha is Reb Meir, right? As we said earlier, Reb Meir holds you got to tell me like it is. Don't leave it up to me to figure out what's up, what's what based on the implications of what you say. No, tell me it straight. And therefore, in the reisha we said. Shelo, it says, chulin shelo ochel lecha is mutter, right? We said that which I don't eat will be considered like chulin. Now, if we are gonna, imply what that means, well, if what I don't eat is chulin, so it implies what I do eat is kodshim, which would be aser, and yet we're saying it's mutter. So we're saying, yeah, because we don't do the whole implication thing, it must be Reb Meir. Okay, fine. So Reisha Mani Reb Meir, so Reb Meir delays them. I'm reading that again. Delays them michlalav ata shemei hein, that he doesn't hold of the whole. Well, why don't you just infer from what we do know, kind of stuff. But if we're saying it's Reb Meir, ema seifa. The seifa says la chulin lo ochel lecha mutter. That if he says la chulin, that it's not chulin lo ochel lecha, that which I'm not eating from you, mutter. Okay, we're saying it's mutter. But now, 1 second. But we learn in a Mishnah, la korban lo ochel lecha, that if a fellow says that it's not a korban, I will not eat from you. Okay, Reb Meir oser. Reb Meir oser. Okay. So that which I don't eat from you is not a korban. Okay. Now let's go weiter. Let's go weiter. Wait, let's not go weiter for a second. Can we break our brains for a second? It's not even breaking the brains, it's just confusing your brain. Can we confuse our brains for a second? Wow, yeah, this can really confuse your brain for a second. So you ready to confuse your brain for a second? Lo korban, lo ochelcha. Oh, shnikes. So what's lo korban? What's not a korban? Chulin. Okay. And what's lo ochel, that which I don't eat from you? So that which I don't eat from you is considered not a korban. That which I don't eat from you is considered chulin, implying that which I do eat from you. Wait, what did I just say? Wait, I don't know what I just said. Again, lo korban, lo ochel. That which I don't eat is not a korban, i.e. it's chulin. So that which I don't eat is chulin, implying that which I do eat is not chulin. It's a korban. So basically saying that whatever I do eat from you should be considered like a korban, right? And we're saying that it is aser, right? So that's not lo korban, lo ochel lecha, Reb Meir oser. Reb Meir says it's aser, v'kashalan, and we don't understand. I thought that Reb Meir doesn't hold of the whole implication thing. So here we are saying lo korban, lo ochel lecha, implying that which I do eat is a korban. And Reb Meir is saying it's aser, but I thought Reb Meir doesn't hold the whole figure things out on your own thing. V'omer Reb Abba, and Reb Abba explains, Naisek Omer lekorban yehei. So Reb Abba explains that what's going on in that Mishnah is no. What he's saying is that lekorban yehei, it should be considered like a korban lefichach, and therefore lo ochel lecha, and therefore I will not eat it. And therefore, if that's how Reb Meir learns, right, that's how he learns these flows, that when he says Likorban lo ochel lecha. So interesting, just to point out, first we were saying la korban means low korban, and now we're saying it means likorban, that it should be considered a korban. So that's a little confusing. But anyways, if we're saying that Reb Meir's flow is that, the second part is kind of an explanation of the first part, and therefore, right, so we're saying likorban yehei, that it's considered like a korban, and therefore lo ochel lecha, therefore I can't eat it because it's considered like a sacrifice. So achanami, we should say the same flow over here. Achanami ka'amar, achanami achi ka'amar lei. This is what he should be saying. Lo chulin lehave, that it's not considered like chulin, rather it's considered a korban. Lefichach lo ochel lecha, and therefore I should not be able to eat it. In the brisa above, what did it say? If we go back to the third line of the Gemara, right, it says, right, lo chulin lo ochel lecha mutter, right? Reb Meir is saying that if he says that it's not chulin lo ochel lecha, and we're saying it's mutter, but if we're saying that lo chulin, that it's considered like a korban, it should be, and therefore lo ochel lecha, right? If it's lo chulin, then it's a korban, and therefore it should be lo ochel lecha, and it should be aser. So I don't understand. How are we saying the first part is Reb Meir, because we're not going based on the implications, but if it's Reb Meir, based on how Reb Abba understands Reb Meir, that it's like kind of this flow, so then looking back at that brisa, shouldn't we say lo chulin, that it's a korban, and therefore lo ochel lecha, and therefore it should be aser? But why does it say mutter? So that's the kasha. How can we say that it's Reb Meir? Because from the Reisha it seems to be Reb Meir, but the Seifa doesn't seem to be Reb Meir, because it's out of line with how Reb Abba seems to be explaining Reb Meir on Daf Yud Gimel that we're going to see in 2 days. So, and for the Gemara, Haitana Savalo ki Reb Meir bechado falagale bechado, that this Tana holds like Reb Meir in one regard, but argues on Reb Meir in another. Savalo kavase bechado teleislim chalavat hashmeehen. So the Tana of this brisa agrees with Reb Meir in that which we say michlala, that he doesn't hold michlalav atashmeehen. That the whole implication thing. Okay, so he agrees with Reb Meir that michlalavat, right, that we don't say michlalavat tashmein. Ufalagale bechada, but he argues with one regard bekorban in terms of like that whole kind of korban flow, like it's not this and therefore you don't eat it. That he doesn't agree with, and instead if he says if it's not chulin, and he says I will not eat it, so it is going to be mutter. Okay, fine. Rav Ashi Omer says, Rav Ashi, Adomer lichulin, v'adomer lo chulin. The mashma lo le'avi chulin, elik a korban. So it also depends if he says lichulin or if he says lachulin. If he says lichulin, then it means that he's making it chulin. If he says lachulin, it means that he's not making it chulin, rather he's making it a korban. So, it depends, the lashon that he uses, lemaise. So therefore, tying it back into that brisa, so if you would say lo chulin, right, if you would say it's not chulin, rather it's a korban, so then he would read it like Reb Abba did, and therefore lo ochel lecha, and it would be aser. But since he says lichulin, so therefore it's that it's chulin, so then it's basically irrelevant. Alright, fine. That's very nice, friends. That was Daf Yud Aleph of Masechta Nedarim. So we learned all sorts of things like double negatives and stuff. If he says it's like a korban and I will eat it, yeah, I mean basically we got into like double negative mode. I hope you enjoyed double negative mode. Peace out.